This week is very special as I am releasing my second violin instrumental song called Joy. And the timing of this song coming out is extremely and extra special to me, as I didn't even think of this until today, how significant to get one of my Christmas violin instrumental songs out at Christmas time. As when I was a young little girl at 8 years old or 9, and my dearest wish was to receive a violin at Christmas. And I'll never forget that under the tree there was a wrapped up rectangle long, shaped, package, and I was almost sure it was a violin. I even kind of peeked a little bit and maybe tore a little of the wrapping paper. Confession time. But I was so excited to receive this gift from my mom and dad. And it was one of the most special Christmas memories for me of a desire that I had to play the violin when I was young, 8 years old or 9. At that time, they would provide, I lived in Indiana, and we had an orchestra in my high school, so I played in the orchestra. And then in grade school, they actually taught violin to us. I'm really amazed how they did that without private lessons. I never had private lessons for the violin. It was learned in class, in school, with violin, with orchestra, and so I learned to play by notes. But in this instrument, on the violin, I do not need notes when I play. I play by ear. I can hear a melody, and then I love the spontaneous prophetic flow. I didn't know that was a gift. And I wish years ago that when I would try to play different things that I would hear, let's say on, a popular artist song, and I'd hear the violin, and I would just go for it, or I would just try it. But I never, had instruction of saying like, yeah, go for that. But then when I was teaching violin, then I would know of the students which ones had that ability, and there were some that would learn by note and some that really could soar with spontaneous and by ear, and both are great and both are very wonderful. But I'm fortunate that when I do play the violin, I do not need to take any books and with notes or chord sheets. I'm thankful. But going back to my violin, on this post, I'm going to be putting a picture, and I'll share of the violin I'm playing now. But there's another Christmas story that's wrapped up in this. It's such a gift, and I'm just very thankful, and this was highlighted to me. But in my 40s, so my first violin was a William Lewis and Son, and it's the name is very good, and it probably is a more expensive violin than the next two violins that I was gifted with. But the sound in this violin, the William Lewis and Son, my student learner violin, was not a good tone. I really did not like playing it. It had more of a what a fiddler would want, like a strong, brassy, gutsy, but I wanted a sweet, mellow, more worshipful. That's the tone I wanted. And so I played this, my student trainer violin beautiful instrument in great condition into my 40s. So fast forward to my 40s, and I'm playing on worship teams ever since I was probably 19 years old, played in orchestra through high school. And my neighbor had a violin, and she had showed it to me, and she had asked if I could take it to a dear friend of mine to see the value of her violin. She had gotten this violin at a secondhand store in an antique, and it wasn't worth much at all, and it had been damaged by somebody trying to put shoe polish to varnish this violin, but it kind of damaged it. It also, and I still have this violin, it has thin wood, very thin, but when the tone resonates, it comes forth, I believe, because of that that thinness in that where the tone comes out. Well, she let me borrow it and to take it to my friends, and I took it to my house. I played a few notes, and I did not want to put that violin down. I played for, I would say, about an hour where I worshiped, and the tone was so beautiful. This is my spare violin, and this is the violin I took to Europe on a mission trip when we ministered to Russian Holocaust Jews. And I took it to see the appraised value to the friend, and it wasn't valued, maybe $1,000, which is pretty good. But for me, that wasn't the point. The tone, it was wonderful to play. And so I said a prayer, and I was like, God, I love this violin. And so when I went to return it to her to give her back and to tell her, about what the value, she said, I want to sell this to you for $150. I was like, what? I was so blown away. Enjoy. And that's the name of the song I'm releasing this week on Friday. She said that is for the repairs that I just put in it. And she had a bow in there that, unfortunately, this bow could have been valuable. But when I took it to a kind of a shop, somehow my bow was taken, and another very cheap bow was put in its place. And I didn't realize till later, and should have really got to the bottom of that, because that bow could have been thousands for all I know, but it is what it is. And it's one of those things, and could have just been a mistake there, and it was a mistake. But I played that violin for probably 10 years, I'm wondering. I wish I knew exactly the year that my next, yes, maybe around 2009, I played that. So in my 40s till 2009. And come fast forward to my next story. So it's a beautiful instrument, but I went with my dear friend again. We went to a violin shop. I had a budget in mind, and we went to look to update a violin for me, as I've played for many years. So my friend, we listened to some at this shop. We played a few of the violins. My friend has 25 years professional training. She knows good quality. She knows a lot about the makes and models, so I really wanted her expertise with me in the shop. And so we went to this shop, and this gal actually had just gotten a new dream violin of her own, and she showed me, and I don't even know why she showed it to me. It was her spare. It was her spare, but she loved it so much. and would not want to part with that one. But I think what it was too, she was going to loan that for me as she did repairs on the one that I was just going to drop off to her so that we could get some tweaking done. And while that's what it was, and while we were at the store, let's look at some violins. So my friend played all the violins that she had for sale, like certain ones in that price range that I had. And we played the loaner, the one that she wasn't going to sell, but that she was going to let me use for a week. While my other one, because I'm hardly without my violin, because I, play it here or play there or, And so when my friend played that one, what she hears is when you play all four strings, they're all four equal. There's not one tone is this. They were equally toned and equally beautiful. And she goes, this is the one. So then I said, would you sell this to me? And she's like, no, I really don't want to part with this. This is my, my spare now. So I took it home, worked with it for that week, enjoyed playing it, and really prayed about it. And I said, God, if I'm happy with the instrument I have at the present, and it's got a beautiful tone, but if I'm to have this one, would you put me on her heart, and that I could have it? So when I got back to the shop that week, again, she brought out a couple others that she wanted me to try, which I did. But I was pretty sold on really, that if she would part with that one. And then I asked her about it. What are your thoughts? And she said, you came to my mind this week, and I'll sell it to you. And then she gave me the price that was in the range, and it was such a gift. But before I forget, the second violin, again, my parents, my mom and dad, bought that for me. So Christmas gift number 2. And this, my present violin is an 1890 copy of a Stradivarius. And it is, again, it was at Christmas time that God gifted me with this. And again, it was my mom and dad. I just love that. It's like I could be in tears of what that means to a child. And when a mom and dad surround you with the gift and bless you in it and encourage you. I remember I could be in tears because, I lost my mom last January and my dad the February before. And I miss them dearly, and how they cheered me on in my giftings. And that means the world, to me. And again, it was at Christmas time. And so for releasing this song called Joy, and I wish I had said this on my podcast, because this just really hit to me that this, was it's so perfect, joy, and this to be released at Christmas, because God gave me these 3 violins. And I remember when I would play at different ministry times, my dad, because sometimes, I would be shy to play it somewhere, or, I have a passion for the Lord, but I don't want to toot my own horn or run up to the front. And my dad would be the one like running with my violin up. Here it is, here she is, and like, what cheerleaders. And I'm so grateful for that. And just wanted to share the story along with the post of the picture of my present violin, and with the word joy on it. And so that just came to my mind. And I thought I would just share that with you today. But what we can do to inspire our children, to cheer our children on, and with the gifts that God has given us, is pretty, pretty powerful. I think it was Stephanie Gretzinger that has shared And this is awesome that her dad would say one day you're going to, impact the world or whatever, like what they're singing. And I heard her share one time saying, that might just happen, like the words, the power of our words over our children, over our lives is so powerful. What we can decree a thing and it would come to pass. And so bless you this Christmas season. And I just want you to really enjoy my violin instrumental second song called Joy. This is a dream come true for me. Years later, making a violin album, I have so far released Agape Love. Joy's being released this week. Joy is being released this week, and then we'll have Peace, Healing, and Freedom. It'll be a 5 EP album that will be released when the other 3 are finished being mastered. But just thought you could enjoy that story. And thank you again from the bottom of our heart for all your support for our music, for our ministry. God is doing a new thing, and we are excited. Blessings.